Hello everyone, my name is Matthew, and this is Learn the Lingo. Welcome to Lesson 45 of Hebrew Basics, a series where we learn the essentials of Hebrew grammar. Today, we are going to start learning a new aspect of Hebrew verbs. Over all these past Hebrew Basics lessons, we've learned that Hebrew has 5 verb tenses: the infinitive, present tense, past tense, future tense, and imperative. We've also learned all the different forms of each tense. The infinitive has only one form, while the past and future tenses have a different form for almost every pronoun. Tenses are not the only thing to keep in mind when forming Hebrew verbs, though. In Hebrew, every verb is formed not only with its tense, but also with something called a binyan. Binyan is the Hebrew word for building or construction. Its plural is binyanim. Binyanim, or constructions, are not something we have in English. In Hebrew, they are used to express the exact relationship between the meaning of a verb and the meaning of the verb's root. As you know, all Hebrew verbs are made from roots, which have a general meaning. Depending on the verbal binyan the root is put in, the specific meaning of the resulting verb can change. Today, we'll take a look at the 7 binyanim, as well as the main meanings that each binyan has. Every verb we've learned so far has been in the binyan called kal or pa'al. The name kal means easy or basic, because it describes simple, straightforward actions, usually taking the most basic meaning of its root. Its other name, pa'al, is how the root pe ain lamed sounds when in the kal binyan. You may notice this verb pattern, with the 3 root letters with the kamats and patach vowels. This is how the hu, he form of the past tense is formed in the kal or pa'al binyan. All the other binyanim also get their name from the root pe ain lamed in that binyan in the hu form of the past tense. With these names, we can see some of the defining features of each binyan. For example, the binyan pl or pl makes the hu form of the past tense with a hirik and sere as the vowels on the root letters. The binyan hif'il adds a he prefix to the root letters. There are 7 binyanim you need to know: kal/pa'al, pl, hif'il, nif'al, pu'al, hof'al, and finally hitpa'el. These are a lot of different names, of course, so let's get everything organized. As I said, the binyan we've been using, the pa'al, or the kal, is used to describe simple basic actions. When a root is in both the kal and another binyan, that binyan often takes that simple meaning of the kal's action and adds a twist to it. The pl binyan, for example, can make these actions intensive or causative. Let's see how that can work. Let's take the root shin beit resh, which has a meaning of breaking. Let's say he broke by putting this root in the hu form of the past tense of the kal or pa'al. Remember, this binyan usually takes the most basic meaning of the root. We do this by adding the vowels kamats and patach under the root letters. Shavar, he broke. If we put this root in the binyan pl instead, with the vowels hirik and sere, we get shiber. The pl often makes roots have more intense meanings than they do in the kal. So shiber doesn't just mean he broke, but he broke to pieces. And sometimes the pl can have a causative meaning. The kal verb lamad means he learned. If we take the root lamed mem dalet and put it in the pl binyan, limed, it now has a causative meaning. He caused to learn, or put more simply, he taught. The hifil binyan is also a binyan that has a causative meaning, even more so than the pl. The root beit vav aleph has a meaning of coming in the kal, as in the verb ba, he came. If this root is put in the hifil, hevi, the resulting verb has a causative meaning. He caused to come. That is, he brought. So those are 3 binyanim: kal, pl, and hifil. for basic actions, intransitive and causative actions, and causative actions. There are 3 other binyanim, the nif'al, pu'al, and huf'al, that are the passive counterparts to each of these respectively. Passive means the opposite of active. The verb is not being done by the subject, but being done to it. Let's say we have the call verb shavar, he broke, which is an active verb. The he is doing the action. In the nif'al, the passive counterpart of the kal, this root becomes nishbar, which is the passive verb he was broken or it was broken, where the he or it is having the action done to them. The passive counterpart of the active pl verb shiber, he broke to pieces, will be in the pual binyan, shubar, which means he or it was broken to pieces. The he-feel verb, he brought, is hevi, and its passive counterpart in the hof'al binyan is huva, which means he was brought. The nif'al binyan not only functions as a passive counterpart of the kal, but can also sometimes describe reflexive actions, something done to oneself, and reciprocal actions, something multiple people do to each other. The 7th and final binyan, the hit pa'el, is also used to describe reflexive and reciprocal actions, and that is the main use of this binyan. For example, the verb katvu in the kal binyan means they wrote, just the basic action. With the hit pa'el binyan, this root kaf tav beit makes hit katvu, which means they wrote to each other, with the action done to the people doing the action, that is, reflexive or reciprocal. So those are the main uses of the 7 binyanim of the Hebrew verb system. The kal describes basic actions, the pl makes those actions causative or more intense, and the hifil makes them causative. The nif'al, pu'al, and huf'al are the passive counterparts of these, and the nif'al can also act to describe reflexive actions, as does the hit pa'el. It's important to note that sometimes certain roots can be in a certain binyan without a very clear reason or connection to these general uses. These main uses, though, are especially helpful if a root appears in the basic kal binyan as well as another, since in that case, that other binyan will usually have the uses we've gone over here. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share. And if you want to learn more Hebrew, please consider subscribing to my channel and checking out some of my other videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.